Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. Welcome aboard. We have in the house Bar Nation Station. How you doing? We also have Marge KJ. How you doing? In from Houston, Texas, Patrick Meow. How you doing? Patrick Magner is in. We also have Michael Rudner in Brooklyn, New York, with a few of his great shorts. We have Joe from Los Angeles, California, and we have in the house Yvette Avery Herod, Atlanta, Georgia. Mr. Ed25, welcome aboard, and so is a welcome aboard from Don. Please remember, go ahead, start giving us those hearts, those likes on Substack, those likes on Instagram and on Facebook and everywhere else. Good morning from Southern Maryland. I hope you mean good afternoon from Southern Maryland. Hey, I love your governor. He was on CBS and he had a commentary. Unfortunately, I didn't tape it because I get into trouble with the CBS. They are very strict on how they handle their videos. You know, I don't mind anybody taking my videos and machinating it to go ahead and do things with it. But CBS, they don't want anybody to touch your stuff. MS Now, no problem. Fox News, no problem. Who else? ABC, no problem. NBC, no problem. But CBS shouldn't surprise us given how they're behaving right now, right? Anyway, Jane B, de Nueva Carolina, North Carolina. Our beautiful Jane B is in the house as well. Well, we got a lot to talk about today. I don't even know which one I want to start with. I don't have any videos for today other than what Rudnin brought with some shorts. The other videos, I don't want to play them because I don't think I should play those. But we're going to have a good time. Let's see. Michael said CBS tried to silence Colbert, restricted his interview with James Tallarico, became one of Colbert's most watched, most liked videos. I thought it was funny, right? Look, these guys don't know what they're doing. They have given $2.5 million to Tallarico's campaign. Whether Tallarico wins or not, that's $2.5 million to be placed into the campaign. And Don is correct. Barry Weiss is the epitome of hypocrisy. And you know, she was pretty strong here on Substack with Free Press. Don't know why they call it Free Press. Look at what she's doing at CBS now, right? Raymond L. McGovern, welcome aboard. And Lynette, the guide in our chat. Sorry about that. We also have in the house Eric Hayes as well as Harry Denson. Eric Hayes is from Kingwood, Atascocita. Harry Denson is from Missouri City, Texas. Good afternoon, Egberto team and all of our Substack friends. Good afternoon to you too, beautiful. Michael said, Egberto, if you run out of content, I have so many shorts that could take a full hour. Not to worry. Egberto cannot run out of content, man. I actually hold back content to make sure I can, give people the actual stuff that they want. Like as in, like I said, you guys come first. Period. Número uno. Ustedes son los que vienen primeramente en mi mente. Tú sabes lo que estoy diciendo. Hello from Dallas, Texas, Mr. Ed25. You guys are doing a good job. Texas is going to be dependent on Dallas County, uh, Harris County, Bear County, and where is El Paso? I forgot what county. El Paso County, I think it is. I think it's El Paso County. All those counties, along with Travis County, comes into Texas. Full blast. Texas is blue. It's amazing. That's all we have to do. Dallas County, Harris County, El Paso, I think it's El Paso County, Bear County, which is, by the way, Bear is spelled Bexar. I remember when I just came to the United States and we were talking counties. I'm like, yeah, I just crossed over to Bexar County. What? There's no Bexar County. It's Bear County. Okay, Bear County. Like when I came to the States and I call it Brenham, Texas. I thought I landed at the wrong airport. I said, ma'am, I need a bus to go to Brenham, Texas. She said, there's no Brenham, Texas. And then she said, um, I'm scared. I'm 18 years old, coming over from another country. By the way, I have that story in my book. It's funny. I came over, I landed in Intercontinental. Intercontinental Airport in Houston wasn't that big then. And I took a taxi straight from the airport to the bus station, the Greyhound station. And it's a shame because I didn't know they were going to jip me. I should have taken a bus. There are ways to get to a bus from the Intercontinental Airport. Anyway, I go into the place and I go and I had a strong, strong accent then, and I go into the Greyhound bus station and I said, I need innocent, 18 years old. I need a ticket to Brenham, Texas. God, that's the first college I went to. I was on a music. I studied engineering, but I came on a music scholarship. Think about that. So I'm like, and by the way, all of that is in my book, man. Check it out. If you don't forget, become a paid subscriber. All my books are free, including the new one I'm writing. But anyhow, so I go to the bus stop and I said, I need a ticket to Brenham, Texas. Lady said, there's no Brent, and they're rude. It was, this was in the 80s, right? There's no Brenham, Texas. I'm like, oh my God, did I land at the wrong airport? I'm green, I don't know what's going on. And then I take out the book from the college and I put it up and showed her. She looked at me and she said, that isn't Brenham, Texas. That is Brenham, Texas. And I looked at her and, I mean, if I were of a different persuasion, I would be blushing because I was scared to death. I was, I was somewhere I didn't know where I was, a big country compared to Panama. The only time I came to the States before was on vacation with the gospel messengers, etc. So uh, then I said, oh my God. And then she told me that, got on the bus, took off to Brenham, Texas. Anyhow, what is that, Michael? He says, wait for it. Prepare to show your shocked Pikachu face. I love you, ABQ. I love you, ABQ. Lee the Bearcat from Austin, Texas is in the house as well. Michael says Texas might turn blue this election cycle, and you can blame Republican dummy Mandarin and the righteous indignation against Trump, ICE, and fascism. You're absolutely right about that. All right. The first, I think I'm going to start with the election, what they're doing in Arizona, because I think that is more serious than people will presume it to be. So let me go ahead and bring up that story, and I want you guys to stick with me on this one here. And anybody wants, and by the way, today is a show where I would love folks to call in and give their point of view, say something, ask something. And I've been reminded by Patrick that I should tell you guys to call in early, 281 uh 823-7747. And you're faking a Texas accent. That was funny. I hear you, Joe. I try, man. I try, right? I can't do it perfectly, but I can try. 823-7747. I'm gonna put that in the chat. Please call, and that is please call 8281-823-7747. Let me put that in both chats now. Para ver, está ahí. Lo tengo ahí, no está ahí, ahora está. There it is. There is a chat. There is a chat. I mean, there is a place to call in. We got to hear this one. LOL. Yes, you did. Anyway, here's the problem. This is a headline. Arizona GOP pushes fascist bill requiring ICE at the polls on election day. It comes shortly after Homeland Security. Kristi Noem uh, went to Arizona and said her agency would make sure we have the right people voting, electing the right leaders. All right, let's pause there. I'm not even going to go into the story yet. I want to go to constitutionality. Ironically, when I saw this story, I got concerned because normally I would say, oh, that is unconstitutional, right? Here's the problem. According to the Constitution, the states run the election, but the state also has the right to go ahead and, run the election as they see fit, which, in my opinion, would include if they believe they needed to ask for assistance from the federal government or from another state or whatever, they could, because it is being done under the auspices of the state. So just reading that headline concerns me. And let me tell you why it is concerning. Because of the VRA, the Voter Registration Act, or the Voter, what you call it, Act, whatever it's called. And the problem is that that act has been so simply wiped out for all practical purposes. The protection that you have against the states now for aggrieving its own people is no longer there, right? Or may not be there much longer, depend on what the Supreme Court does in June. So there are all these things that could happen, could line up, where we have to make sure to tell people now, irrespective of what you see outside, irrespective of your colorization, irrespective of whatever, we have to go out there and vote massively. They can't gun down 100,000 people. We have to go out there. The only way to defeat voter suppression is to prevent it. Earlier today, I heard a woman was in Tarrant County, or no, she was in Dallas County, and she made a TikTok. And the TikTok said she just voted in the presidential election and that she's still registered, but she goes to vote today. They said, I need your passport, or I need identification. She takes out her passport, give it to them. They can't find anything in it. They said, okay, give us your driver's license. Couldn't find anything about her being registered. And this woman walked out and she said, I'm going to get everything that I have, but I am going to leave here with a I voted sticker. The shenanigans may have already begun here in Texas. And remember what I told everybody, it's happening. This is just the primaries occurring in Texas right now. What I told everybody is you have to check your registration in Texas and in red states, and particularly the states that don't allow same day registration. You have to start checking your registration status on a weekly basis and 30 days, 30 to 33 days before the election. Check that so that if you have to go ahead and register just to get it out of the way, you register. But when you fall within that 30-day period, after you show that you were registered or that you sent in your registration on the date, make sure you have video and everything to show that. Then you keep checking all 30 days before the election, 29 days before the election. Because the shenanigans these guys, these crooks, these criminals are going to try, it's going to be a mess. Okay, so you have to get you we We have to tell the people that are voting the right way, people that are voting the interest of us all, that they are going to have to take care of their right to vote in this election cycle because they're already working. The Trump administration is already putting all the wrenches and the cogs in the system. So Democrats can't be sitting back and saying, oh, let's see what they are going to do. Let's see what they're going to do. Wait for them to do and see if you can mitigate what they do. By that time, it's too damn late. They're telling you what they're doing. So let's go to the story. And here it is on the screen. As the Trump administration threatens to deploy immigration and customs enforcement to menace voters on election day, Arizona Republicans are pushing for a bill, like I said, the state law, a bill that would require every county to allow federal agents at polling places to observe election activities. The Arizona State Senate is expected to take up the proposal this week, which would require all 15 counties in the state to sign an agreement with ICE to provide for federal immigration law enforcement presence at each location within this state where ballots are cast or deposited. Following federal agents' killings of two American citizens in Minneapolis and a wave of violence and civil rights violations, including racial profiling, approval of ICE is at an all-time low among the American public, with more Americans now saying they want to abolish the agency than keep it around, according to the polls. Yep, we need to rid ourselves of those thugs. Nearly half of all Arizona residents are non white. Under this proposal, there will be virtually no way for them to vote without a federal immigration agent potentially watching. The memo introducing the text to the Senate Bill 1570 requires such an agreement to provide for the presence of federal immigration law enforcement personnel during all hours in which voting is conducted or ballots are deposited, including early voting locations, every election day polling places, and ballot drop boxes. I wrote an article a few days ago, maybe a week or two ago, and I got some commentary from people that said things like, you don't know what you're talking about. And
You
I
don't
got some
know.
commentary from people that
That's what
said
they
things
said.
like, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to pull up that article because I want to put it back into the into the chat. The title of the article was para ver dónde está, dónde tengo ese artículo. Lo tengo aquí mismo. Uh, the title of the article is The Upcoming American Holocaust, right? And in that article, I also point out what the bottom line is, and I'm putting that in the chat. There are two articles I want you to read if you haven't. That article, it's called The Upcoming American Holocaust: Connecting Billionaires, AI, ICE, and Trump's Concentration Camps, as well as the other article called We Are Winning. We are winning. Because it's not all bad news if we do our job, right? It's not all bad news if we do our job. But what I pretty much said is that this budget for ICE isn't anything about rounding up immigrants. It's about rounding up everybody that needs to be rounded up. It's about making folks that need to be scared scared. That's what this is all about. You don't need a $170 billion budget for immigration control. That's the size of many armies around the world. And we're going to have that to control the southern border. We don't need that. And they are on this emergency hiring. They're taking anybody. My friend Jadid, Laura Jadid, I brought her on a few weeks ago, who got hired. People don't like when I say got hired because they said she didn't get hired because she didn't accept it. No, she was hired. Okay? got hired as an ICE agent. She was concerned about being hired because she had just smoked a joint, which means she likely failed the drug test. But she just wanted to see if she would still get on. And she got on. No, she had a short interview. They had already put in the computer system that she was an ICE agent. They need bodies and they're taking bodies left and right, people. This have a little bit to do with anything. Little to do with anything. So let's be clear here, folks. Let's be very clear what's going on here. They are they are working on this election. That's the entire goal. They are trying to work on this election. The goal is, again, I repeat, the goal is to steal the election. And what I want what I want people to understand is this. It's not a foregone conclusion. You you have the ability to overcome what they're planning because they're already telling they can't hide it. It's too big. This is too big of a country, too many different districts that run elections. Too big of a country to really fool you. But let me continue with the article. The memo introducing the text. Let's see. I got some important things here that I got to take a look at. Okay. Okay. Great. All right. So here's the deal, folks. Here's the deal. We have to be very careful going forward. But not only careful, we have to be putting and letting people know about what's going on. And by the way, I don't know what happened to the amount of folks that we normally have on that we have started getting on Substack. It seems like when you start telling too much truth, things happen. Okay. But here's the thing: you can change that by sharing the feed. Share the feed. Let people know where you are, so that more people can actually hear this stuff. So if you are on right now, remember to share the feed. Anyway, let me go ahead and continue. The memo introducing the text to Senate Bill 15.7 requires such an agreement to provide for the presence of federal immigration law enforcement personnel during all hours in which voting is conducted or ballots are deposited. It also allows federal immigration law enforcement personnel to observe election activities and perform lawful duties within the scope of their federal authority. As Gerard McDonald noted, the proposal seems to directly run afoul of federal law, which bars any troops or armed men who are part of the civil, military, or naval service of the United States from being deployed to polling locations. The only exception is needed to repel armed enemies of the United States. But what happens if it is the state? And I that is where I get dubious about. It could be the state sanctioning this, and I do not know. I'm not a legal scholar. I am not a I am not a constitutionalist. I've read the entire Constitution, but I'm not a constitutionalist. Nor would I try to play one or mislead you on that. But in just a tacit reading of the Constitution, I think we have a Supreme Court that could give these people standing. And that's a shame. Hey, LBW is in the house. La profesora, I'm tardy to class, but I made it. Hey, beautiful, you're never tardy. You are la profesora. Come on now. Anyway, so I am I am going to have to do quite a bit of research on this. But I have a feeling that if this were to go to the Supreme Court, that it would actually they would find a way to uphold this because I think the fix is the attempted fix is in. Let me tell you why. You don't give, and this is what the Supreme Court did. I want you guys to understand this. This is what the Supreme Court did. The Supreme Court, when we sued or sued Donald Trump, they came out with a ruling that is completely unconstitutional, but is now the law of the land because they said it is. And that says that anything Donald Trump does while he is in office, even if it's treason, it's not, he is immune. And the only resolution to that is the political resolution, which means impeachment. It cannot go through the law. And people may say, okay, but that is just Trump. If we have all these other people running around committing crimes, meaning committing voter crimes, committing the crimes that you see those thugs on the street commit, etc., guess what? They can be pardoned by the guy who has immunity. And so the fix is in, right? The only opportunity you have to make sure that all those folks doing illegal stuff don't get immunity if, again, if later on somebody else come into power, is the president preemptively giving them immunity. But you can then say, well, we can impeach the president. Yeah, we can impeach the president, but to convict the president, you need 67 votes in the Senate. And unless we win the Senate in a landslide in November, which is highly unlikely, that won't happen. So the fix is in. And the only mitigation to the fix is for every single person to go out there and vote their hearts out. And the last option, when they realize that everybody has voted and all those machines have taken their vote, the next thing they're going to try to do is exactly what Trump said he wanted to do in 2020. And that is to confiscate the ballots, to take the ballots, right? At that point, it is all chaos, it's all gone. And at that point, you would hope that good Republicans that are currently scared, that are currently cowards, will finally say, well, this is our country. We just can't let this happen. We just can't let it go there. We just can't let it go there. So I want to lay the stage out for what we're talking about here. This Arizona stuff. Norm just got back from Arizona, where she made that statement: the right people voting and the right politicians being elected. Those are the code words. Anyway, the proposal was introduced by Jake Hoffman, the chairman of the Arizona Freedom Caucus, whose page on the official website of the Arizona State Legislature states that his mission is to destroy the progress of Marxist communists at every level. I guess I'm a Marxist communist. These guys need an education. These guys need an education because we want uh, health care for all, because we want the ability for people to have vacations, because we want people to be able to have vacations, because we want family leave, because we want maternity leave, because we want things that help people. We are Marxist communists. Take that and smoke that. If you want to do good, you are a Marxist communist. But those that are doing evil, they're just fine. They're just fine. The proposal, his bill prohibits agents from interfering with the casting of or depositing ballots except as otherwise authorized by law. However, Hoffman has suggested that agents are intended to verify who is and is not allowed to vote. No, we have people to do that. The state normally assigns people, not military people, to do that. They normally assign a particular group of civilians to do that. I mean, Let me tell you why they're started in Arizona. They started in Arizona because they have the right kind of legislature with all those crazies to do it. But the other thing is they want to see what kind of a pushback Democrats and smart independents give. And I don't know about you, but I've been watching and flipping channels to see which station is going to talk about the urgency of this issue. Common Dreams have an entire article on it. We are talking about it now. Every single station should have this as a red alert. This is a red alert. And we're watching all the cable channels on a loop, talking about the same crap on a loop. That's why we're needed, folks. That's why we're here. And that's why it is not just up to what I'm going to talk about here, but it's about what you also do about what we are talking about here. I'm very disappointed that even notifications then. By the way, those of you that are here, how many of you received? I'm talking about Substack now. Did you get a notification on Substack? Any of you that's in the chat right now? Did you get a notification either by on your phone or an email? Because when we start this stuff up, we set it up so that folks can know the program is getting started, etc. Okay, so Daigle got it. Mr. Ed 25 didn't. And that is what I'm noticing. Let me tell you, we have not paid subscribers, but we have people that we can send notification to 23,000, more than 23,000. More than 23,000. These are people who subscribe, which said, yeah, we want to get you stuff. But they're not being told, right? And I think there was an accident last week where you saw those things go out and you saw that we zoomed up. We started the program with 500, got all the way up. One of them got up to 1,000 or so. This little operation, right? With 23,000 people. I see some people, there's a particular group that has a 500,000 subscriber base and they get 200, or they had about 2,500 people watching, which our ratio is a bit higher than that. But this is what I'm talking about, why all this performance is going to have to come from those of us that check in, those of us that decide to see this stuff. One of the good things that I'm doing, and to let you know, is that one of the reasons I send out emails, right, is the following. The last bastion of connectivity we have that cannot be harmed by algorithms, right, is direct email. That's the last bastion we have. Timely delivery of the emails you send out. And the good thing is when I send out the regular emails with the articles, I can see over a period of time if people have received it, if people have opened it, etc. Right? And that at least gives confidence that this platform is still sending out the email as told to send it out, right? But in this world now where the billionaires are controlling our media, etc., it is imperative that we have the information, that we have your emails, etc., that you subscribe to us so that we can reach you directly. And you only do that to people you trust, of course. I mean, let me be clear about that. You just do that to people that you trust. But it is so dangerous. What happened with Talarico yesterday? That is so serious. I mean, that is billionaire control of all our future steps. But I think I've made enough of this, told enough of this story of what's going on in Arizona for you to get the picture. Um, Please make this a story as well with the people that are in your sphere of influence. They need to know these things. Share it, tell folks about it. I'll probably write a little something about this with cut a little piece of what I did here. But it is so important, folks. It is so damn important. Let me go ahead and give my brother Radnin some of the stuff that he brought in because I want people to continue to participate. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see. The usual. Let's see. Obama cheered, Trump booed. I think I saw that one, but I want to give something a bit more apropos. Uh, let's see. Trump's decline. Huh. Let's go ahead and do the one with let's do the one with Epstein because I think make just keep that into the power base. So let's go
Donald
ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and do that for you, Michael. Let's do that. Get that there. Cover my face and let's get busy.
Trump's alleged call to the police about Jeffrey Epstein does not show what MAGA thinks it shows. It's actually very, very bad for Donald Trump. As the story goes, Donald Trump called the Palm Beach police chief in 2006 and said, and I quote, "Thank goodness you're stopping him. Everyone knows he's been doing this." That makes him a hero, right? Wrong. So very wrong. And you would have to be stupid to think otherwise. Let's break it down. The alleged call came a year after the Epstein investigation began. A year. So according to MAGA, Donald Trump knew that Jeffrey Epstein was sex trafficking, raping, and torturing children, and withheld that information until a year after police were already involved. It gets worse. Just 3 years before the investigation, Donald Trump told New York Magazine that Jeffrey Epstein was, quote, "a terrific guy," and waxed poetic about their shared affinity for beautiful women. And the big falling out that Trump keeps insisting he had with Jeffrey Epstein, that didn't happen until 2007. So according to Trump's own timeline, he and Epstein were close friends in 2002, just 3 years before the investigation started. The following year, Trump told police that he knew what Epstein had been doing. And then the two stayed friends until at least a year after that. MAGA believes this all somehow makes Trump innocent. The legal term, however, is accomplice. Donald Trump's alleged call.
Oh yeah, the legal term is accomplice. Hi, Elizabeth Raven de Caracas, Venezuela. Elizabeth is in the house. Elizabeth is a professor at I think it's the University of Caracas, where she actually we interviewed her and had a lot to tell us the truth about what really is happening in Venezuela, not what we hear on mainstream media here, but exactly what's happening. So we need to do a follow-up interview, Professora Raven, because I want to, Donald Trump is still blowing ships up or blowing boats up, and he's still jumping on ships and taking them out of circulation. And I want to know what kind of effect is that having on the Venezuelan people when he takes these boats. Are you guys getting some of the monies out of these boats, or I don't know? I'd like an update on that sometime. So when you have some time, cuando tienes un poco de tiempo, me puede decir, me manda un mensaje, and I'll make sure to contact you for us to set up a secondary interview. But thank you for all the information you've been providing to myself and to Arturo Dominguez, who is very strong on Latin America and what's happening in Latin America, etc. All right, Radnin, I will play one more. You always have great stuff, but today it just wasn't in line with what we were doing. But I want that other piece that you have there about Hexet. So let's get busy. I appreciate it, brother. I really do. Let's go ahead and get that in here. Bear with me 1 second.
Axios published Pentagon threatens Anthropic punishment. Now, what is Anthropic? It's an AI company known for their product Claude. That currently is the only AI application vetted and approved for use by the Pentagon and various government agencies. Now, why would the Pentagon and Hegseth want to go ahead and cut access to Anthropic and Claude? Well, it's because of Anthropic's terms and conditions. You see, Anthropic does not want to loosen its terms to make sure that their products aren't used to spy on American citizens or develop weapons that fire with no human involvement. Yeah. They don't want their product used to spy on or unalive people. And that's why Hegseth is throwing a fit, and a senior Pentagon official told Axios, quote, "It will be an enormous pain in the ass to disentangle, and we are going to make sure they pay the price for forcing our hand like this." They want to label Anthropic, the AI company, a supply chain risk. This is something that is normally reserved for foreign adversaries, not American companies trying to negotiate terms to protect the American people and the integrity of their product. We need to keep a close eye on this because if the Pentagon wants to use AI to spy on American people and the AI companies are fighting back, that's actually a positive development. There's some bombshell reporting from.
Yeah, that is some positive development. Patrick Magner is in the house. Thank you for calling in, Patrick. You're the brave one that decided to make a call. I was hoping more people would call as well, but I don't think I advertised it enough. Go ahead, brother.
Me too. I figured people would call in if you gave them an opportunity earlier. Maybe they'll get used to it, and I think that a lot of people that have opposed. Go ahead.
You see the Substack platform isn't that isn't the real mechanism yet, because most of the people just talk on Substack, and people have their own commentary in their on the radio where we are on where we have a radio signal. People are in their cars and cause I think you call from your truck sometimes, right?
I'm in my truck right now.
Yeah, there you go. So people would be in their cars and they'll call, or people would be at home drinking their first cup of coffee at our 6 o'clock show and they'll call. We get a lot of calls in the morning, none in the afternoon, or rare in the afternoon. But here we got Patrick. Talk to me.
Well, want to start off with semantics, and I don't usually spend much time with semantics, but everybody's referring to these warehouses that they're retrofitting as concentration camps. Concentration camp is an area where you concentrate a group of people, whether it's ethnic, class, and you do it for sometimes labor, other times for punishment. I think that, and what I'm doing personally, and what I think that might be more effective is I don't allow people to call them concentration camps. I tell them that they are death, pestilence, and torture camps.
I like that.
And that's what they should be called.
Of course, you're giving me a lot more words to say, Patrick, but I like good advice. So repeat that. What you call them?
Death, torture, and pestilence camps.
I'm gonna ask you to do something for Politics Done Right, brother. Could you somehow find a way to say that? Give it something that I can remember.
I'll text it to you. Maybe by the time we have some crawfish, we'll have something that's a little more catchy.
There you go. There you go.
And I talked my brother into going, so I'll be donating another $75 tomorrow to KPFT for his ticket.
All right. Remember to tell them to put everything that you've donated in Politics Done Right, because they'll try to move it around. I want to make sure that Politics Done Right, we got to meet our quota every day. You know how that goes. But I appreciate that, and I'm ready to meet your brother. Is he coming with his other half, or is he coming alone?
No. It'll be the three of us, and then you and your wife.
Excellent. Well, we're going to have a good time. Let me just tell you that. We're going to have you know me. I'm very what's the word? Outgoing. My wife is outgoing, and your better half is outgoing. So we're going to have a good time.
Yes, sir. Hey, they're expecting a lot of deaths at these torture camps, and one of the reasons why I can say that is one of the improvements that they're doing in all these warehouses is that they're putting in biological incinerators.
Whoa. Say that again?
It's easily Googled. They're putting in biological incinerators.
Okay, let me ask you, how did you get that information? In other words, what
Google.
Got you? Mm-hmm.
It's on Google, and it's quite a few people have talked about it already.
Okay, I need to verify that. That is scary.
I'll send you a couple links, and you can tell me if you think that they're suspect. They're not fringe journalism
Sites.
sources.
Yeah.
They're and you can type it in, and numerous sources come up.
Wow.
So they're expecting either accidents, and then they're going to cover it, or they're expecting people that have outbreaks of measles and things like that, and then they'll incinerate them on site, so they can get rid of evidence. They can misuse them, and they're expecting enough death where they can't just ship them out. They're going to have to handle it on site.
That is so sad. I mean, we are going to get some good investigative reporting in these places that are going to infiltrate this stuff. We've got to, I mean, Laura Hadid showed that it is so easy to get a job doing these things. Uh, let me just say this to the listeners out here. That is what we have to stop. And these guys are going to do. I mean, you know what is so sad about all of this, Patrick? This isn't that these people want to kill. This is that the human beings that they're putting in these death camps. I can't remember the other words you use. That are put in these death camps
Pestilence and
are
torture.
right. They are the means of the source of their income, and that's all it's about. It's not. It has nothing to do with love, humanity, or anything like that, or that they would ultimately, if they could make the money without killing the people, I think they would. This is sick. I have to read. I'm gonna. I'm not. I trust you, but I have to feel comfortable reading that stuff because I really can't believe. I wrote about it, about what I think the plan was going to be, and Arizona is showing that that is exactly what the plan was, exactly what I said in a couple of those articles. But wow, to just see that the incinerators being purchased, etc., that is scary. Anything else you want to tell me, my brother?
You can always double check me because I don't always get everything right, and I like to learn, and that's one of the reasons why I like to argue with you because you always kind of bring something out that I haven't thought of.
Well,
But
we
I've definitely got other things.
okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you can go ahead and say what
I
your
was
other
going to say
thing
I
is.
definitely have other things, but I'll save them for the next day or two, so
Okay.
you're not lonely on the phone.
Whenever. I love you, brother. Thank you. I appreciate you. All right. He's going to keep me from being lonely because many of you don't call, and I would love to get a call from you. Have a good one, Patrick.
You too.
Take care. All right, folks. Anyhow, the other, I really want to get to this other one, this other story, because it is. Uh, I got. Let's see. I can do this in 8 minutes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can do that in 8 minutes. Para ver, I'll do the New York Times article, but let me just a synopsis of the New York Times article. That's what I'm gonna do. A quick synopsis of the New York. The headline is good enough. Every single participant. Let me put that on the screen too. Que pasa, Egberto tiene que hacer esto correctamente. All right. Every single participant in a New York Times focus group preferred progressive candidates over moderate ones. The Democratic Party needs to embrace voices that resonate with people, said the participant. The New York Times American Focus series has assembled dozens of focus groups in recent years, often asking supporters of President Donald Trump how they feel about his domestic and foreign policy 1 year into his first term. But political observers suggested Tuesday that the newspaper's latest focus group should capture the attention of Democratic leaders who have been condemned for capitulating to the president and refusing to embrace and learn from the victories of the leaders like New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani. The newspaper spoke to 13 Democratic and independent voters, including retirees from Indiana and Michigan, working people from states such as North Carolina and Nevada, and unemployed voter from Iowa. The topic of discussion was the participant frustration with the Democratic Party as it faces the Trump administration and the president's aggressive deployment of U.S. immigration and custom enforcement. Just to summarize the article, by 100%, these people preferred progressive policies, progressive stances, progressive things. 100%. Independents and Democrats alike. So, so here is the thing. What we have to do, like I told many people, is now that we are in the primary season, Now that we are in primary season, this is the time to actually go out there and elect the most progressive candidates that are running, because that is who you will elect in November. If we don't do that, we will maintain the status quo. And in as much as we're likely to win, that win will be short lived. People, please. We have a lot of work to do. And when I say we, I really mean we have a lot of work to do. Now, you can continue reading that article, but the real article that I wanted to take up was the article out of California. And the reason why, and Joe, you'll appreciate this. Let me get to that one. Here it goes. The title of that particular one now is as Bernie Sanders. This is a New York Times one. As Bernie Sanders come to California, wealth tax opponents intensify efforts. The opponents' latest moves include online ads tied to Governor Gavin Newsom, a crypto-related push to raise money, and competing ballot measures. Here's the deal, and the first three paragraphs, I think it is, says it all. On one side, Senator Bernie Sanders is firing up California voters and encouraging them to tax billionaires as a matter of fairness. We should all agree with that, but looks like Newsom doesn't. On the other hand, Governor Gavin Newsom, crypto executives, and business leaders are ramping up efforts this week to stop the proposed wealth tax, warning that the measure would stifle innovation. That should tell you everything. That should tell you that these people think you're stupid. Just that one line. On the other hand, Gavin Newsom, crypto executives, and business leaders are ramping up efforts this week to stop wealth tax, warning the measure will stifle innovation. Please show me a wealthy guy who innovates on anything. Wealthy people do not innovate. Wealthy people don't innovate. I want you to, from Bezos to Gates, nice. None of them have created anything. The people who actually innovate are the people you have never heard of. Whether it is a billionaire, Bill Gates, that they're working for, or the billionaire Jeff Bezos they're working for, or the billionaire Musk they're working for, they're the ones that innovate. And you can't take what is in their heads out of their heads. So the billionaire structure that we have in this country, the rest of the article, read it. But I want to soliloquize on this, because this is so fundamental to Americans' belief. We have so inculcated into people's minds that we can't take away anything from billionaires, because if we do, they'll either leave the country or innovation will stop. The truth of the matter is, number one, where will they go? Because the reason they're here is not because they're nice. They are here because they're safe. They are here because they're safe. And they're safe because all of us pay for a hell of an army that protect them. Let's remember that. Who am I having the honor to speak to today?
Hi, this is Bobby.
Hey, Bobby, how you doing?
I just wanted to talk about Pam Bondi real quick and that hearing that they had.
Okay.
The fact that she's supposed to be the head of the Justice Department, and she had all those sex traffic girls behind her,
Mm-hmm.
And they were all like, none of them, the senator asked them, how many of y'all have tried to get in touch with, them, and they all raised their hands, and how many of y'all, did they ignore? They all got ignored.
Yes.
She's supposed to be like the head of the Justice Department, and she's just like right there. And then how tacky can you be to start talking about like the money in your 401k when you literally have these girls that were sex trafficked as little kids behind you? It's
right.
like, are you kidding me? and
Well,
it's like anybody who could like still vote or like support somebody who's doing these things and then having people cover up and you can't get on the show. All the things they're doing, it is insane. I hate to be like a conspiracy theorist, but like this picture of Ghislaine Maxwell does not look like her. Like I don't know if you've seen that, but like
no,
the
I haven't.
nose, the distance between the eyes, the eyelids, everything is different. It does not look like her. And it's just
Okay.
like, wow, they have all these things going on. It's crazy.
Thank you,
Um,
Bobby.
man, I have one more quick thing, Egberto.
Real quick,
If you
brother.
mind, you caps like 30 seconds. They did a study on the difference of the brains between people that are liberal and people that are like on the far right, and they noticed that people on the far right, the part of their brain that is like responsive, like the caveman, like the fear thing,
Right.
like always nervous and looking around. That's more active in them. And then on the far left, where we're at, it's more the part of their brain that's more critical thinking and all these things were more active. And it was so accurate that they were able to look at somebody's brain and tell whether they were like kind of leaning to the right or left just based on their brain activity.
You know
And
what?
which
It's
part
so.
of their brain normally functions the strongest.
You know what? It's so interesting
What's
about
that?
that. I've heard that before, that study, but I never took it further. But I have a question for you, and then I have to go because we're out of time. But and let's talk about this another time in this respect. Do you think the brain was designed that way, or was it conditioned that way so that now that's the way it behaves? That's what I'd like to know. You follow what I'm saying? In other
Yeah.
words, is
Well,
that this? Go ahead.
in primitive times, it worked out really well for them because they're always nervous, looking after their back. They don't, and in primitive times, it worked good for the caveman. But
Yeah, but that's
modern
not my
times,
question,
you
Bobby.
need to think
Bobby,
critically.
that's not my
Right.
question though, and I'm gonna ask you to research this for us. The question is whether they were born with that part of their brain very active already, or was that part of their brain reactivated because of their current reality. That is what I would like to know,
That's a good
because
question.
that is scary. So find that out for us and call us back. Not keep me too lonely waiting for the phones. All right.
Have a good day.
Thank you, Bobby. All right, folks. Look, I want to continue the chat on the the wealth and innovation and all of that. I'll finish. Let's do that, some of that tomorrow, because we're out of time right now. I want to thank all of you that are here. I am today. I'm sort of disappointed in the amount of folks that we have on Substack, in that I know the notification should have gone out, and we saw ourselves throttled on YouTube. We saw ourselves throttled on Facebook. I love this platform, and I hope this platform doesn't begin to play the shenanigans that got played at Facebook and YouTube and these other places, where there are times that AI takes a look at the speech form, and I hope not. But anyhow, let's go ahead and close this baby down. Please remember, you can become a part of you can help us do what we do by becoming a paid subscriber. Those of you that are not paid subscribers, please consider doing that. Simply, if you are on Substack, you simply need to go to hit that subscribe button and become a paid subscriber. If you are not, you can go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. And I'm about to put that in the chat right now, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, and it is there. Look, I thank you for being here. I appreciate you for being here. This is something that we're all going to have to do together. All of us are going to have to work together on this. All of us. Thank you for being here. You can email me directly, info@politicsdoneright.com, info@politicsdoneright.com. Again, you can sign up, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. I love you all. You know how I am going to end this baby. I'm going to tell you, I am what? Out. Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.